There's a moment that happens when you arrive somewhere ancient for the first time. Before you reach for your camera, before you think about the shot. I've never truly been drawn to large, crowded cities. I find myself looking past the tourist, trying to find a way to filter out the noise. Something in me recognizes that whatever I'm looking at has been standing there for centuries. The way a ray of light dances across the stone wall as it casts the same shadow day after day. That feeling is the whole reason I travel with a camera. Not to document, to feel it, and then to try and give it back to someone who was not there. As an artist who travels, I didn't come here to check landmarks off a list. I came here to see if the light still held the secrets that the old masters spent their entire lives trying to understand. When I'm working, I'm not a tourist. I'm a pro with a schedule and a list of things that have nothing to do with my personal creative work. The places I pass through are gifts I have to earn in the margins. Madrid always gives me one night. It's a door, not a destination, and that's enough. I studied art in college. I understood color theory and composition, but nothing prepares you to see the actual brushwork up close inside the Prado Museum. The scale, the texture, the light those painters were chasing. It's the same light that was waiting for me outside. I stood there longer than I planned. The Plaza Mayor is one of the places that photographs itself if you just show up. 17th century architecture that wraps around you on all sides. The light in the evening hits the stone in a way that feels warm and heavy at the same time. Like the city's been absorbing heat for hundreds of years and is finally giving it back. I had dinner at Restaurante Duque. Historically known as the oldest restaurant in the world, it's been operating since 1725. 300 years of the same roasted lamb and pig coming out of the same wood-burning oven. And then there was the Bodega de los Secretos, the cellar of secrets, located in the oldest winery in Madrid's center city. Hidden for more than 400 years, its tunnels once served as escape routes for the troops during wartime. Stone arches, candlelight. It's the kind of place that makes you feel like you've traveled back in time. I always stay at the Radisson Red when I come through Madrid. Modern, bold, art on every wall. There's a 5-star Michelin restaurant inside by a renowned chef. By evening, the whole place comes alive in a way that feels very much like Madrid. On your way out, the breakfast buffet will ruin every other breakfast you've ever had. Madrid taught me you don't need a week somewhere to feel it. You just need to pay attention. Here's a tip. Shoot wide and shoot high. Try shooting wide and high by tilting your frame upward. You cut out the street-level tourist distractions and force the viewer to look at the timeless architecture and the way that the light cuts across it. Especially in busy situations, you want the people, the tourists around you, to look smaller than what you're actually trying to showcase in your photograph. Segovia is different. I've photographed a lot of structures in my career, old ones, new ones, famous ones. But there's a unique feeling about standing next to something that has outlasted every human system that built it. Every empire, every war, every century of people walking underneath it, going about their lives. That makes you feel very small and very awake at the same time. As a photographer, the feeling is gold. When you feel small in front of something, you stop trying to control it and start trying to honor it. That's when the real images happen. The Alcázar sits at the edge of the city like something out of a fairy tale, literally. It is said to have partially inspired the Disney castle. I'm not sure that makes it more magical or less, but standing at the base of it with the camera, I stopped thinking about Disney entirely. We don't travel to escape our lives, we travel to wake up our senses. When you're balancing a busy life, it's easy to stop looking at the world around you. But when you step into a place where centuries of history are staring you right in the face, it forces you to slow down. Being an artist isn't about chasing the perfect view or having the most expensive gear. It's a way of walking through the world, holding on to curiosity. The Segovia Cathedral is the last Gothic cathedral built in Spain. 16th century, they were still building it when the Renaissance was already underway everywhere else. There is something I find deeply relatable about that. Still finishing one thing while the rest of the world has already moved on to the next. But what I love most about Segovia is just walking around. The streets are narrow and uneven, and they wind in ways that don't make sense until suddenly they open up into a view you are not expecting. Every corner is a potential frame. Every alley is a light story happening within it. I spent hours just walking. No agenda, just looking. The intimacy of the locals and how they interacted, the age of the buildings and the light bouncing around everything that I saw. Here's a tip. Study the culture. Shift your lens away from the monuments entirely from time to time. Look for the people who live there. Capture the essence of the place, of the culture. Think about what's missing in your own story that you want to tell while you're there. Feel what it feels like to be there, to live there, to be a part of the culture. And then there was dinner at the Restaurante Duque. Duque has been serving Segovia's famous roasted suckling pig since 1895. 5 generations of the same family, the same recipe, the same tradition. The night I was there, the grandson came out himself. He's now the one overseeing the restaurant and carrying it forward. He told us the story of where that tradition started, and he said that the restaurants that do it best have the ability to do this because the process of roasting the pig is what's important. It needs to be crunchy on the outside and juicy and tender on the inside. Our server invited one of our group members to do the honorable traditional cutting of the pig. They said they do this at their restaurant to showcase to the people why their family tradition has been passed down for so many years. I watched as one of our friends, who had never held a plate like a knife in their life, drug it through the pig. And then he hurled the plate onto the tile floor. Of all the things I photographed in Segovia, that one was real. Segovia reminded me that the most powerful creative experiences are not the ones you plan. They're the ones you present enough to receive. You cannot manufacture that moment in that restaurant. You cannot choreograph the light on the aqueduct. You can only show up, stay ready, and let the place do what it does. That's the lesson I keep relearning every time I travel, every time I pick up a camera. Toledo sits on a hill above the bend in the Tagus River, and it looks like a painting from every angle. The kind of place where you point your camera in almost any direction and something interesting happens. Sometimes when you travel with a camera, you get caught up in shooting the scene instead of sitting with it. The truth is, capturing the essence of a place isn't about finding the spot where no one goes. It's about using your lens to look for the life happening just off the beaten path. the people who actually live and work around the tourist areas, the ones who hold the true connection to the history. The Toledo Cathedral is one of the greatest Gothic cathedrals in the world, the kind of interior that makes you turn your neck upwards for 10 minutes before you even think about a camera setting. Inside the church of Santo Tomé is El Greco's masterpiece, the Burial of the Count of Argaz. Painted in 1586, the scale of it, the detail, the fact that El Greco painted himself into it, it's amazing. Artists have been doing that forever, putting themselves inside their own work, leaving a mark that says, I was here, I made this, it mattered. The synagogue that became a church, the mosque that became a cathedral, history folding over itself again and again. Toledo was a city where for centuries Christians, Muslims, and Jews lived and built and prayed within a few blocks of each other. You can feel that layering when you walk it. Here's a tip: the art of waiting. Practice the art of waiting. Intentionally slow down and wait for the crowd to clear so you can capture the stillness that the ancient builders intended. Sometimes your best photographs can come because you've waited. Sometimes the best shots are when there's no people or right as someone's walking through the frame. Observe, pay attention. Don't just shoot a few frames and move on. Wait for it. Lunch at Adolfo was one of the finest meals I've had. The kind of restaurant where the food is the extension of the place, rooted in the region, built from what the land gives you, served with the kind of quiet confidence that does not need to announce itself. The presentation was impeccable. Toledo reminded me that some places don't need a lot of your time. They just need your full attention while you're there, to feel it, not to exhaust it. I think about what it means to be a working artist who also travels for work. The two things are not always aligned. The client needs you somewhere for a reason that has nothing to do with your personal creative vision. The schedule does not bend for golden hour, and yet, every trip I've taken for work has given me some of my most personal and creative images. Because I was there, because I had a camera, because even in the margins of someone else's agenda, I could not stop seeing. That is the honest artist, not the one who gets perfect conditions or unlimited time, the one who finds the shot between obligations, who stays curious when it would be easier to be tired. If you have ever felt like your creative work only happens when everything lines up perfectly, the right time, the right light, the right circumstances, I want you to hear this. The best work usually happens in the margins, in the borrowed hour, in the moment you were not planning for. Stay ready. That's all. Just stay ready. Next week, we move into northern Spain, places that feel like they exist slightly outside of time. If you want to start changing the way you look at the things around you, download my travel photographer's field guide called Stop Shooting, Start Seeing. It's designed to help you slow down and find the deeper narrative in your images, the storytelling part. Because you stayed with me through this entire journey to the end of the video, I want you to have this completely free. You can find the link in the video description below or in the comments. And if you use the code SpainVision, all in caps with no space, at checkout, it's yours completely free. If this is your first time here, I'm glad you found me. Subscribe so you don't miss the rest of the series. And if something in this video resonated, the work, the travel, the trying to hold both things at once, leave me a comment. I read every one of them. Thank you for sitting across the table with me today. Go find the light in your own corner of the world, and I'll see you next Wednesday.